And we're live. What is up, everybody?
Hi,
Welcome to
everybody.
Dirty Talk. I am Lawrence Winterman, and I'm joined by the one and only, nobody does it better, Füsun Iden. Füsun, hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm happy to see you. You look absolutely fabulous today. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm going through a move at the moment, so everything behind me is packed up. How things are packed up. My apartment is a mess, but other than that, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, everyone will forgive the mess, I'm sure. It's just amazing that we have the chance to do Dirty Talk again,
I know.
finally.
I know. I know. It's been such a long time. It
It
feels
has,
like
but we needed a summer break. We've had some adventures, and now we're back. I mean, it's still summer, but we're just getting back into the swing of things.
yes. Hi, Donna. Hi, Robin.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, we needed a break. We needed a break. I'm
And
lucky. Please.
I was just going to say we needed some time to think of our next topic, which is you came up with this one and you wrote a fabulous article about it. We're talking about bathhouses today, which is
Yeah.
a staple of queer culture. What inspired you to write about bathhouses and to kind of talk about this topic?
I think because it was the first time I ever had sex recreationally and regularly was through bathhouses. It was a place for me to um express myself sexually without being coerced by money, and being free to be whatever I wanted to be as opposed to whatever somebody else wanted me to be. Have you been to a bathhouse, Lawrence?
I have. I've been to several. I have to admit that I was really scared of them when I was just coming out when I was younger. I mean, I think because I wasn't comfortable and confident in my own sexuality yet. My first experience with a bathhouse was in Amsterdam. Um,
Really?
yeah, yeah. So this would have been, oh my God, this would have been 1997. And I was visiting Europe for the first time and was in Amsterdam. Of course, kind of young gay guy, like had only come out a couple years before. And so, Amsterdam just absolutely blew my mind. And, and yeah, I went to, I guess in this case, it wasn't a bathhouse per se. It was a gay bar. I wish I could remember the name because I'd want to ask you if it was still there. Um, but it was basically it was like a bear bar, like a Levi and Leathers bar, and there was a dark room downstairs, and that was I think bigger probably than the entire upstairs of the bar. And yeah, and I met this very sexy German guy named Jörg.
Oh la la.
Yeah. And yeah, we went downstairs and that was my first, dark room slash bathhouse experience. You know, and it was fabulous.
Yeah, it is fabulous. I love them. I still go to them today. Like, I guess being Turkish, there is I'm raised around bathhouses in a non-sexual way anyway.
Right.
So, like in Turkey, we call them hammam,
Come on.
and and lots of men, very straight, very hetero men, go to these places to be rubbed down by other men and completely naked. Yeah, there is no clothes,
Right.
and I guess the first time. I realized that I liked them was probably um when I went to one in a non-sexual way, and I had this guy who was rubbing me down and was all over me, and the first thing I did when I got home was jerk off, you know?
Right. You were like, oh my God, that was amazing. And
Exactly,
release.
exactly. And I was like, it would be good if there was a place. I was saying this to a friend. It would be good if there was a place that did all of this, but then you could fuck as well. And my friend was like, there is.
Right. Right. Your friend was like, sweetie, let me tell you something.
Exactly, exactly,
Like you dream it and it already exists. Hello.
exactly, exactly. It's like, yeah, they're magical places. Like, for anybody who doesn't know, in this context, a sauna or a bathhouse, in an erotic sense, is a place that is frequented by queer people and it's basically a place to have casual sex. It's not the only purpose. People do go there to just relax,
Right.
but sex is an option in those places. And it's a very controlled, despite what people would have you think, it's a very hygienic environment.
Yes.
Um,
Very.
and yeah,
Yeah. So I would say for the folks in the US audience that we're talking to, every major American city that I know of has at least one gay bathhouse, and some of them have multiple. And uh, it is, some of them can be a little tawdry, or seedy. It just, it's like any business. It depends on who owns it and how interested they are in kind of elevating the experience or investing in the upkeep. I've been to some that, I honestly, I went to one, this was a million years ago in Portland, where I walked in and it was so grimy, right? Like I walked in and I was like, I'm not so horny that I am hanging out in this place that is obviously covered with algae and like it was gross. And I left. And then I've been to some that are like as nice as the nicest spa that you have ever been to, right? And yeah, my current boyfriend and I were in Dallas a while back, and we went to one in Dallas that was really nice, really clean, really hygienic, and well maintained. And other than the fact that we went at a weird time of day and there were not many people there, it was a great experience because we're talking about like there's a steam room and then there's a dry sauna and there are showers and hot tubs and cold tubs and swimming pools and and then areas where there are slings and benches and every conceivable contraption upon which to fuck. um but yeah, so uh tell me, like, Füsun, tell me the maybe like your most elegant bathhouse experience and your most outrageous bathhouse experience. Do you have those?
I have elegant might be a stretch, but but outrageous is easy. I think I went to a bathhouse in Hamburg a few years ago, and the attendant was very had a lot of trepidation in letting me into the bathhouse. He's like,
Wait, this
we
sorry, go
don't get
ahead.
we don't get many trans women, and I'm not sure what the rules are with that. And it got to a point where it was like, he's like, are you post-op or pre-op? And I just said pre-op, and he said, "But in you go then." Like it's like fine. I went in, and I went in, and I was like a buffalo at a watering hole full of lions, and Like I was so shocked by the amount of attention I was getting, that I think I got fucked maybe 6 or 7 times that one evening, and I gave I think I gave can't remember exactly, but I probably gave over 10 blowjobs. Like, I was so shriveled and so like my skin was so fucked afterwards. Like, more fucked than I
Sweetie, you
was.
got you got it. They always have oil or cream or something in the showers afterwards. You got to use the body moisturizer.
Yeah, you have to use it, but that was really good. Like, teared me open and like reignited the love for bathhouses that I had, because I'd gone often, because like you, I'd gone to bathhouses or a couple before then where I just walked in and there's just the smell of shit that just hits you in your face.
Yeah,
That gives the smell of sex, but not good sex, not clean sex, not
right, right,
like, and I've just been like, this is so gross. Like, there's obviously shit everywhere in the air, and that's been exacerbated by the fucking steam, and we're all breathing it in. And I was just like, this is so gross. And then I realized that like those establishments are kind of an anomaly. Like they're
right. A place
yeah,
like that doesn't stay in business, right? Like a place like that loses its clientele, and
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. Because nobody goes to those places, right? The people want to go there, and especially like there's a lot of discretion. There's a lot of people going there quietly, and the steam and the darkness helps with the anonymity of it all. And people like want to go there to have a good time, but quietly. They don't want to get diseases. They want to get sick. They don't want to get ill. So it's like the better you keep your bathhouse, the more business you'll have. Yeah,
exactly.
it stands to reason, right? But
Yeah. So some of the best, kind of most well run bathhouses I've been to, you're right. It is a place of discretion. Like it is a place where you will literally see a guy, like the guy that you just fucked, back in the sling, then showers up and puts on his business suit and leaves and kind of goes back to work, right? Or whatever, and there are condoms everywhere. There are, well-run bathhouse, like they've got a good locker system, so your belongings are safe. Um, they sell food and beverage. But the places in the States, at least, you can't buy alcohol. And I don't think I've ever been in one where you could buy alcohol, but you can buy Gatorade and water and, snacks, and you could buy VHS head cleaner and lube, and all of the things that you might need. And, and those, like, that's a quality establishment that is really invested in kind of the health and well-being of its clientele. Um, it, you know, uh, yeah, so I just want to say to the audience, like, obviously, if you haven't been to this show before, this is Dirty Talk. This is where Füsun and I talk very openly and honestly about the queer experience. And if anything that we're saying makes you uncomfortable, please feel free to drop.
and I've got nice tits as well. So
Right. Füsun is looking, absolutely killer today, and are those the same pasties that you were wearing before? Have you
no, these
reapplied
are
your pasties?
this is that's gross. I've got like a set. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
like
Okay. A repeating supply. Excellent. I mean,
exactly.
I didn't think for a second that you would be wearing the same ones that you wore.
I've not taken them off since Pride. I've not taken them off since Pride.
Right. Somebody on
They're a part of
OnlyFans
me.
is offering me $1,000 for each one.
Exactly. exactly, and I need to wear them for a month.
Right, right, right. He really wants he wants the smell to build.
Exactly, and if I can lactate, that's even better, but there's
Right,
not much chance of that, you know?
right.
But I told him
I
there could be.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, tell me about so you told us about the first time that you went to a bathhouse, like the kind of Turkish hammam bathhouse. And then
Yeah.
your friend told you like, "Oh, no, there really is, a bathhouse where you can have sex." So what was the first time at one of those like for you?
Um, was very like, that's what the story is about, really, like, it's was very scary, like, very scary. I was told where it was, and I stood outside for ages, and I was
Right.
umming about going in. I was walking back and forth, and I went in, and I got the usual, like, thing about being trans where they were like, "We're not sure whether you should be in here or not." And I said, "Well, there's no bathhouses for us," because they were not like, they just weren't a thing, like, we didn't have those kind of social things, you know?
Right.
And, uh, they let me in, and I went in, and it was, like, ancient. It was so old, and I was like, I didn't really believe it. Um it was like the inside of a mosque, mashallah. It was like so ancient, and there was loads of people there, and you could tell there was loads of people, but the only light that was really coming in was from a hole in the roof,
A
like
hole,
like a not a hole.
a skylight?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
stylized and candles, so you couldn't really see anybody, but there were loads of people there, and you could hear them. You could hear people having sex, and it was, like, transformative. I had really, really good sex. In hindsight, it was kind of dangerous, I guess, just in terms of, um, like, HIV and any other STDs, like,
Sure.
um but it was transformative. But I noticed that there were people there who I knew knew to be straight, right? I knew them, I recognized them, and outwardly they were homophobic, um, and transphobic, and were quite nasty. But you have to be careful with them because you could have good sex with them, but afterwards they could get angry, yeah,
Of
and they
course. Yeah.
and they could be very
Violent.
yeah, violent, yeah. So it was nice, but you were taking lots of risks, and I think I was aware of the risks. Um, and I don't think in Turkey I ever really loosened up in the way that I should have done, in those places, because I was just aware that there wasn't much by way of prep, for example.
Yeah.
Um, and I did a stupid thing the first time. Someone did me bareback, um and I thought about that afterwards, and I was so scared. I was scared for years,
Sure.
like, afterwards. Like, I would be standing in the mirror checking my back to see if I had carbosi sarcoma, and if I got a cough or a cold, I was just so scared. Um, so there were risks, but that kind of springboarded me into something else, because it was like, okay, it's not really that safe in Turkey, but it would be safe in Europe. Yeah, more safer in Europe. So I went to Europe, and then the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah. So being clear for folks who maybe are just joining us and aren't familiar with your story, you're talking about when you were very young and you were kicked out of your home for being trans, and you were kind of, figuring out who you were and how to exist in Turkey. And so, things like healthcare and prep and regular HIV testing weren't necessarily available to you at that time in your life. Um, because I want to, part of this I think is I want to talk to people about, you know, bathhouses are risky, like in the spectrum of risk in engaging, with sexual partners. There's, the very, very safe, which is that you're in a closed monogamous relationship with somebody where, you've both been tested and you're both on prep, right? And then there's, bathhouses, which are, closer to the risk end of the spectrum, where you are engaging in sexual relations with people that you haven't met before. You probably haven't and aren't going to have the conversation about testing and prep and all of that stuff. But you kind of in your life have had the experience that, I mean, I think it mirrors mine in a little bit. When I was younger, we didn't have prep, and HIV testing took 2 weeks, right? And so I went through a time in my life where, every sexual encounter was sort of the, oh God, oh God. And that was what it was like for you in Turkey when you were kind of just coming out and beginning to have experiences as a sexual person.
For the most part, prep was available, but it was expensive, so it may as well not have been.
Right.
Yeah. And Turkey doesn't really announce this, but Turkey has quite a high HIV positive population. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they're more focused on treating you once you have it, right?
Right.
Not the prevention or preventing the transmission, more treating you once you have it. And bathhouses, I mean, I think anybody, especially in America, knows that bathhouses took quite a large proportion of the brunt during the AIDS um, epidemic, especially in America, where people were saying that the bathhouses was essentially a petri dish um, for AIDS, which it's kind of it's hard to, in some senses, disagree with that, because as hard as it is to say, queer people historically, in terms of sexual health, have been quite naive.
Yeah.
And that's not me victim blaming anybody.
Right.
That's more like there was a substantial amount of queer people in the 80s who thought, like, some didn't even think AIDS and HIV was a real thing. And it was just a way of controlling gay people,
Right.
and queer people. And the attitude of queer people can't really get STDs because anal sex, which is again very untrue.
Correct.
Um,
I,
it just, yeah,
I mean, exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Please
no, no,
keep going.
please, please,
I,
please.
I think it's, an epidemic like AIDS and, and other STDs in general, it thrives in a situation where there's a lot of shame, right? Where people are not being honest about their sexuality. And, part of the reason we're doing this and having conversations like this is to to unburden the shame, right? To reject shame, any kind of shame around the queer experience, and around gay sex, because those were the beliefs and the behaviors that led people to engage in risky behaviors and not think about consequences and not think about what kind of safety alternatives were available to them. And and it is possible to engage in something, fun and liberating, like a bathhouse experience, and to do it in a way where you are cognizant of your own health and at least trying to be cognizant of the health of the people that you're engaging with there, right? Like, um, yeah. So I just wanted to kind of surface that, I think when you were describing the situation in Turkey where HIV is really prevalent, but people don't talk about it, and it's more of a like, oh, we'll treat it once they've got it. I think it's because because and correct me if I'm wrong, Fusen, but I think modern Turkey is still quite homophobic, right? And
That's the
there's
thing.
shame attached to wanting to have sex with, other men, people who have sex with men. And and so, and you end up in a situation there where, you know, people are kind of acting on their urges and their desires, but feeling a lot of shame and self hatred around it. And so, they're not thinking like, well, I could go talk to a doctor and get an HIV test or, try to get on PrEP medication or something. And stuff like that still happens in the States all the time.
Yeah, it's a real shame, and it that kind of societal viewpoint, especially in Turkey, stops it prevents sexual liberation. Yeah. It prevents a lot of people having the experiences that they deserve to have.
Right.
Like, bathhouses, they're all good in Turkey, but they're so secret. You can't make friends in there.
Right.
You don't know people's names. Like, and I'm sure that's possibly the case across most of the world, where it's kind of anonymous. But usually in bathhouses, my experience is that you build rapport with people that you see there regularly.
Right.
Um, in Turkey, there's none of that. You have sex, you go, and you never speak to each other again, and you never tell anybody who you had sex with.
Right.
So, with that in mind, if someone if someone gets that Shen culture, if someone contracts something, they're not gonna say that they've got it, right? They're not gonna go to the doctor. They're not gonna get tested. They're not gonna get treated, because in order to get treated, they'd have to admit how they got it. They'd
Right.
have to say you've got HIV, and the question would be, have you have you had a blood transfusion in so many times?
Right. In the last 10 years or
10
whatever.
years?
Yeah.
No. Are you an intravenous drug user? No. Do you participate in unprotected gay sex? No, but you do, or
Right.
that you
Right.
can't.
You're lying about one of those, right?
Exactly, exactly. It's possible you could get it from a woman, from women, from vaginal sex. It's harder to get HIV from a woman, between a man and a woman, but at some point in time, you're gonna have to admit how you got it, or
Right.
because these things don't just happen. So a lot of people die that way. And I think talking about it. So I'm trying to regather my thoughts. Because I had something profound to say, but it's
I,
slip.
I, I believe that you had something profound to say because I know you do. You always do. Your writing is always profound. So, uh, are, can I make one point while you're so kind of speaking of the spread of disease uh, and next at some point I want us to kind of talk about like a bathhouse experience, like what it's like and what to expect. But it's making me think of the recent monkeypox scare, right, from a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
where again bathhouses were probably correctly maybe identified as one of the vectors of spread in the gay community. People who engaged in lots of anonymous sex were much more likely to encounter the monkeypox virus. But one of the things, at least in the States, that the queer community here did really well was show up for the vaccine, right? And so the moment that monkeypox vaccines became available, they were rolled out they were rolled out quickly in the States, but kind of with a lot of conditions. Like a lot of technicalities, you had to answer a lot of pretty invasive questions to qualify. And I was in Seattle at the time, and uh, I know that me and my partner at the time and all of our friends went and uh, attested to the fact that we were sluts and that we had slept with a whole fucking lot of people and that we all deserved to get the vaccine, and we all got the vaccine, and there was not a monkeypox pandemic I think largely because the gay community understood the assignment and went and got the fucking vaccine that was available. And so I don't know. That's me kind of getting on my soapbox and proselytizing about uh, vaccination and how when an epidemic is about to occur, and there's an actual vaccine available, go get fucking vaccinated.
Right, exactly. Like, that's it. I mean, I remember when first hearing about it, I thought, here we go again. Here we go again.
Yeah.
It's gonna be something else, and like, luckily they nipped it in the bud quite quickly. It didn't get out of hand. It didn't get out of control. Like, I've had the vaccine, and I was I don't want to say forced because I would have got it anyway, but they weren't gonna rent a room to me anymore if I didn't get it. They were
Right.
like,
Right. Yeah.
"You
You
have to
couldn't
get
have rented your window if you didn't comply with getting the vaccine, right?
correct,
Yeah.
correct." Same with prep. I can't rent a room if I'm not on prep and prove that I'm taking prep. Um, COVID, obviously. There's so many things. Like, it's just like the health checks, regular STI checks, like, it's really stringent. People don't realize how stringent it is. Like, to be a sex worker, you have to be pretty much in top health. You can't have anything contagious. You can't have anything that's transmissible. You can't have um
Right. It
uh,
isn't a job where you show up to work if you've got a cold or the sniffles or anything, right? Like,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
And I just want to point out, I think we've got Dr. Amber Hull is in the audience. I think we've got a couple other medical practitioners in the audience.
Mhm.
If Füsun or I either say anything that maybe isn't medically correct, I mean, please correct us. We're certainly, I think we both kind of know what we're talking about when it comes to how to interact safely in sexual situations as a queer person. But I'm very open to being corrected. If I should say anything that is incorrect, please, by all means, correct me.
Is it Friday today?
It is Friday.
Then I know what I'm talking about.
This is why I love her, folks.
Yes, Robin. I know. I told you I was a doctor that time I asked you to undress, and I was lying. Sorry, I'm not a doctor.
Right, right, right. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about the typical bathhouse experience. Tell me about. Oh, so I'll kind of tell you sort of I think what people would expect when they walk in a bathhouse, and then tell me if it's different in Europe. I think things are largely the same, but so in the States at least, like most of the bathhouses that I've been to, it's usually in a place in the city where there's not a big sign. It's usually not particularly well marked. You kind of need to know what's behind the door that you're entering. And there's usually like a glass walled vestibule, like almost like a bank teller window when you walk in, where the person who's staffing the place is going to ask you for ID. So be prepared. You can't not have your ID on you, at least in the States, when you go, because they are going to hold it as they rent you the locker or the room that you're going to use while you're there. And, you know, uh, you get a locker key or a room key, or usually often both. Like you've got a locker for your phone and your clothes, and then you've got a little um, if you're at a place that has rooms, you're renting like a little closet that has a bed in it, basically. And so there's the locker room, the showers are right there. If you're a bottom, for the love of God, prepare beforehand. This is not the place for you to be douching and getting ready in public. You should show up ready to go. And uh, you put your clothes and your phone and everything in the locker, and you've got your little key on the wrist on your wristband. And if you've got a room, you then kind of you can go open your room and hang out there or do whatever. Um, the places that I've been, usually there's a pretty clearly delineated, um, kind of fucking area that has slings and benches and sometimes like jungle gym sort of TRX looking equipment if you're into, hanging off of, parallel bars while getting reamed, that you could do that. Sometimes they're the big spinny lazy Susan things so that, the bottom gets on it and gets spun around through a bunch of tops. Um, and then there's like the spa side, right? It has the pool, it has a hot tub, a cold plunge, the steam room, the hot sauna. Sometimes there are multiples of these. Sometimes they're themed, like there's I don't know, the Cleopatra one or the salt block one or whatever. And you're basically hanging out with other people who are looking to have sex. And it's, all about eye contact and confidence and sort of picking, kind of deciding who turns you on and who you want to engage with. And this is my PSA. Like, I think if you're hooking up with somebody and you're, a responsible person, like, check them out. Do they look healthy? You know, look at their cock, look at their ass, are there open sores?
Yep.
you know, not to be disgusting, but like, I don't know. These are things that I do. Um, and then fucking have fun, right? And have as much fun as possible. And there's obviously a no strings attached environment. You've kind of always got to be aware of weirdos. They're always, I don't know about your experience, Füsun. I'd imagine this happens to you all the time. Somebody can get really attached and they think just because they fucked you once, they own you for the rest of the time that you're there.
Yeah.
So that's my experience. That's sort of my, what to expect when you go to a bathhouse kind of thing. What about you? What would you say?
I would agree largely with most of what you've said. I would also add that if you do go to a bathhouse, you will get propositioned. Like, like, and sometimes it can be intense, and sometimes people um won't leave you alone. Um, Usually they'll get the message, and if someone is acting too pushy, people will like generally people who witness will step in and be and defend you. Like it can be an intense environment, and it can be quite disorientating.
Oh, for sure.
You can be in if you're in a sauna or you're in a steam room, and your senses are already because usually it can be quite dark. Your senses are already kind of working overtime, um, trying to make sense of things. Um, so I would usually recommend whenever you've come out of never have sex in a steam room. Like that would be my advice, or in a high temperature environment,
Right.
because likelihood is you'll pass out, or you'll have a panic attack, or you'll freak out, and you won't enjoy yourself. I mean, if that's your thing, then go ahead. But my tip would be whenever you've come out of those places, if the place has a cold plunge, go into a cold plunge before you do anything. Because especially if you're a top, the cold plunge will give you give you an easier hard on.
Right.
Um it's nature's Viagra. It gets the blood flowing and moving and circulating. Yeah, like I think that's it. And in turn, always be respectful of other people's boundaries. To go through the whole process, it's largely similar to Lawrence's. Like I have to provide ID as well. Um, they don't keep the ID though. They just check it to see you're overage,
Yeah.
um, and then they give you it back, and it's pretty much identical. Some places don't have defined places to fuck. That's one thing I've noticed. There's no like defined place. So you often see people fucking in the showers, fucking in the locker rooms, just people fucking everywhere. I prefer it when there's a designated area because it's you don't want to interrupt somebody, but at the same time, if you want to leave and the passage of like leaving and there's somebody being bent over, it's just awkward. Um, but yeah, it's a fun experience if you don't overthink everything and you don't panic and you stick to your boundaries. You'll have a lot of fun. And don't do poppers in saunas. Like,
Yep.
don't do poppers. It's a disaster.
Right. And I can't tell you the number of times over the course of like the last 10 years where I have, in the larger sort of queer community in Seattle or LA or the places that I've lived, where you kind of hear about a middle-aged guy who goes to a bathhouse and ends up having sex in a sauna, doing poppers, possibly with Viagra or Cialis in their system, and possibly something else. And that person has a heart attack and dies, right? Because you are stressing your body, and it may be your fantasy come true, but you kind of always need to be like personally. I wouldn't go if I was had more than one or two beers, right? Like I wouldn't go when I was drunk or fucked up in any other kind of way.
Right.
Yeah, like they may sell video head cleaner while you're there, but don't do it while you're in the sauna or high heat environment. I think Füsun is exactly right. Don't fuck in the high heat environment because you will pass out. And I think one of the other things I would say is this is obviously an anonymous, a quasi anonymous place for people to have no strings attached sex. There will be people there who are creepers. There will be people who are there who are not attractive, who like, God help me for saying this. Maybe this is kind of their only opportunity to try to hook up with somebody. You're
Yeah.
not obligated to have sex with that person. It
Only a
doesn't matter.
face a mother could love. Yeah.
Right, right. Only a face only a mother could love. Exactly. Like, if you're not attracted to the person, don't have sex with them. Like, I think one of the experiences that I've had repeatedly is boundary setting, right? Where, like the time that I was in Dallas, my boyfriend and I were fucking in the sling area, and just because he was topping me didn't mean that it wasn't. I mean, it was kind of sort of an invitation for other people, except that like it wasn't just like it wasn't like we were employing no discernment whatsoever. There was somebody who came by that thought he was going to get in on the action, and we were both like, nope, not you.
Yeah.
And that may hurt somebody's feelings, but it's
It's a
your
hard
body.
punch.
Who you let into it is entirely up to you. Should always entirely be only be up to you.
Of course. Yeah. But people will try. Like, and they'll push, and you may say no. You may have to say no several times over and over again. It's just that's the reality. Like, if I go to a gay bar or any queer venue, and that's an unfortunate reality, is that in a lot of queer settings, it's like no isn't no. It's not an instant like realization to them, and it's like those people will. It's not like I don't know how to word this really. It's like people are very persistent, yeah, in the queer community. They're very persistent. They'll
Right.
like what wouldn't generally fly in the heteronormative community sometimes flies a little too long in the queer community.
Right.
It's not just in bathhouses, it's bars, Pride. People will just try it on and they won't leave you alone. Like,
Sure.
um, but you have to be resolute. You have to be really steadfast. If you don't want to have sex with somebody, fuck their feelings. Because
Right.
it's not about their feelings. Like, when it comes to your body and your sexual activities, that's for you to decide who you have sex with, nobody else. So don't succumb to pressure, but people will try.
Yep.
People will try.
Yeah.
Brandon tried with me. Brandon wouldn't leave me alone for 2 hours. Was following me around. Bathhouse.
Brandon says some guys try to convince you that you'll like them, quote, you won't regret it, and that sort of thing. Right. Like,
Listen to me.
yeah, there's some guys there's some guys who will, absolutely like be persistent to the point of absolutely making an ass of themselves. And you must set strong boundaries. And Füsun, I'm gonna ask a question I know the answer to already. How many times have you been in a bathhouse naked and had people come up and touch parts of your body without asking permission?
Every time.
Every single time.
Every time. Every time. Somebody will come up, they will put their hand on my back. It could be like that, or somebody will generally just grab my cock. They'll just grab it. And like I'm just like I like honestly I can't even the audacity just stumps me. It's beyond me.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure it's the same with you every time.
Yeah. Every time. Every single time. I I've got quite prominent nipples and and a hairy chest and a certain daddy look about me. And yeah, it's like they're man magnets. Like, dudes will come up and grab my nipples and say some variation of like, oh, hot daddy, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, hands off.
Yeah.
My body, my choice. I get to choose who touches it and in what manner. um yeah, it's absolutely, be prepared to defend your boundaries and your personal space when you go to a bathhouse. And oh god, I almost forgot this piece. Defend your drink, right? Like, they sell water and Gatorade. You should get one because you will get dehydrated. Defend it with your life because people have absolutely been roofied in bathhouses. Um, there was a time a year or two ago, I was in Puerto Vallarta for Beef Dip, which is the big bear event. And there was a story of a guy. So this Canadian couple came down to the event. One of the partners, they'd both gone out to the big bear bar there. One of them went into the dark room, and his partner, after, like 15, 20, 30 minutes, got worried because the guy wasn't coming out and went in and found him passed out and bleeding because somebody had roofied him and assaulted him. And he fell and hit his head and was in a coma. And he was in a coma in Puerto Vallarta for 2 weeks and is fine now, from what I understand. I followed the story, and from what I understand, he's okay. He made a full recovery. But like, for the love of God, people, your drink is never safe in a bar or a bathhouse ever.
It's not. Like like if if I'm in a bar and I'm on my own, if I go to the toilet, I will never go to the toilet unless I've finished my drink first.
Yeah.
I will never leave my drink. It will always be with me. Just people like people tend to have this attitude like about drinks where they're like, nah, it's not gonna happen to me. It won't happen to me. Like you don't know who else is in that bar. You don't know what kind of person is in that bar. All it takes to spike a drink takes 2 seconds. Sometimes less.
Right.
It's so quick, and that stuff, whether it's GHB or Rooflin or whatever, like that stuff will fuck you up completely. Like It is like I've had the misfortune of being spiked before, and everything is entirely out of your control.
Yeah.
Like, but before that, the one thing that is in your control before that happens is your drink.
Yep.
Hold your drink. Put your hand over the top of your drink. And actually, some bathhouses, that reminds me, they have these drink covers now where you can put it over the top of your water, and it's like a, I don't know, I don't know if they have these in the US, but when you go to a bar and there's like a row of spirits at the back of the bar and then
Right.
they
Right.
click it, yeah, and then water comes out. It's kind of like that. It's like
Yep.
a optic, so always get one of them. If you're in a bar and they do one, get one. Just always take care of your drink. It's a very good point. It's an excellent point, actually. And that's really horrific. That happens so much, though. It's so prevalent.
So we've got somebody in the chat who is new to us, who might be a good person. We don't know. Sorry, General Austin Nichols, we just don't know you yet, and we've had experiences with other people who have tried to deceive us. So folks, if you're following a person, kind of like in a bathhouse, check them out. If you're following people here on Substack, please practice good online hygiene and safety. Go look at their profile, look at the other people that they follow. Do they have a picture in their profile? Yes or no? Uh, do they have many followers or only a few? Does the profile look like it's brand new? Please think about these things and take a look at the people who are asking to follow you and asking for you to follow them back. Um, I'm very mean about blocking people because I just don't got time for bullshit from assholes. Uh, General Austin Nichols, we hope you're a good guy. And if you're not, you'll get blocked from this community and any other community that I'm a part of.
We've been burnt before. Like, like when I posted that bathhouse story, actually, that reminded me.
Yeah.
Someone messaged me, and after the show, I'll DM you who it is. Um, Someone messaged me and asked me, um, do I have any pictures of myself when I was 18 because they don't imagine that I was ever small chested? Like,
Fuck
a-
that.
and I called them out, and I was like, "Do you know how fucked you're like? It's that this person's like 60 years old, right?" And I'm like, "Do you know how fucked up that is? Like to even ask that? Like, this person's a menace anyway. This person creates fake account and messaged me and Lena to help his friend set up an OnlyFans and give her tips on like poses and things like that. It's just so fucking weird. It's just so weird.
Yeah. Also, PSA, Dr. Richard Hogan, PhD, DBA. Thank you for posting the link to your lovely article about the situation with Ukraine. If you could explain to us how that is relevant to the current topic. Actually, I'm not super interested in you explaining how it's relevant to the super topic. Just don't come in here and dump your links to get traffic
Yeah.
to your articles. It's
Promo
called
that
rude, and
it's
we block people for that. So I'm not going to boot you right now, but oh, I will if you do anything else to step out of line.
yeah,
Please
yeah,
respect our space. Fusen and I really love doing this show, and we like doing it with an engaged audience. And they can't be engaged if they're reading your article about Ukraine that looks like PS it was written by AI. So just
yeah.
saying.
And I'm a KGB spy, Richard, so I'll remember who you are.
Yeah. And she's not fucking around. You saw La Femme Nikita. Hello. Who do you think they based that on?
Exactly. Exactly. Lolita Nikita, I'm every Ida.
She will fuck you up. All right. So bathhouses. What's our wrap up on bathhouses, Fusen? We're coming up on the top of the hour. I have loved this conversation. I think we got a lot of good information out there, and um, you know, For straight folks or folks who have not had a bathhouse experience among us, I hope we have taught you something and educated you about a piece of the queer experience. Actually, you go. What do you want to say? I've got a thing I want to say, but you go first.
I think my wrap up would be, if you're a queer person and that interests you, you should definitely go. But you should do your research. You should practice clean hygiene. You should be safe. Oh, Richard just subscribed to me. That's nice. Um, you should be safe. You should be aware. You should have strong boundaries. But most importantly, you should have fun. And you should express yourself, but do it in a sensible way. That's my wrap up: is to have fun, get laid, get fucked, get sucked, but be sensible.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, I would echo all of that. I would say so. This is me. I am fully aware. I'm about to say something that is imposing my worldview on people and coming from a place of privilege. I acknowledge all of this. I personally wouldn't go to a bathhouse and cut loose unless I knew that I was on prep, or if I was paused, that I was on my meds and undetectable, right? So I personally, that's a boundary that I would set for myself around playing in a safe way, right? Because what we do know about PrEP and what we do know about HIV medications is that people who are paused and who are adhering to their treatment can achieve a status of undetectable in which they are incapable of spreading the virus. People who are on PrEP are protected to a high nines degree of protection, and uh and if you're doing those things and you are, being safe around other STDs, go to a bathhouse and fucking cut loose and have a great time. And part of the reason that bathhouses are so important in gay culture is because it has been a way in history, um pre Stonewall and after, it's been a way for gay people to connect and experience sexual liberation in a way that has never been allowed to us in other parts of society. And when I say gay, I mean men men who have sex with men, trans women who have sex with men, the I'm covering all of the queer folks who might go to a bathhouse and enjoy their experience there. I have been to bathhouses where uh, cis women and trans men are allowed in and are allowed to, have the experience. I guess I would say, kind of like Füsun has said, sounds like Füsun, you usually get questions about, kind of being a trans woman going to a bathhouse. I've also had experiences at places where trans women are not allowed in or women are not allowed in.
Mhm.
And so just kind of understand sort of the, I don't know, whatever the house rules are for the place that you're going to. Um,
Research.
yeah, research. I do know though that in many cities where there are gay bathhouses, there is also usually a swingers locale that is caters more towards the heterosexual community.
Correct. That's it. I only really go to bathhouses now that I've already been to, and that I'm kind of not regular, but I know that they allow trans women to go into, because yeah, you can look online, but sometimes information is quite limited in terms of research. Like, I don't know if that's the case in the US, but in Europe, it can be quite hard to understand whether trans women are welcome or not. Um, most people let, most bathhouses will let trans women in because I think they understand that, like gay men, we have that need to have that kind of experience where we're allowed to have sex and in a non-judgmental way. But yeah, do your research 100%. It's the most important part of it. As much research as you can with
Right.
what information is available.
Right. And I would say, if you're kind of stealing up the courage to go to a bathhouse for the first time, you could go to the bathhouse and just ask at the front desk what kind of establishment it is, right? Like, I would be shocked if they were surprised at getting questions like that. There are a lot of people who probably go for the first time and are nervous and are curious, and maybe you hear something from them that makes you decide not to go to that one, and that's okay. Like, you could go all the way there and get in and ask the question and discover that it's maybe not the establishment for you to feel comfortable in, and that's okay.
Absolutely. 100%. That's the core takeaway, is that your autonomy is the most important thing, and your ability to consent and make decisions, informed decisions, um, is the most important thing.
Yep.
It is. Just be very, very careful, because HIV hasn't gone away. It's still there. It still exists, and it's still prevalent. So just be careful. That's And if you're not going to be careful, buy a pram, buy a cop.
And that's it. That's the last word. Fusin gets the last word on this topic, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up, my friend. It is so good to see you.
It's good
I'm
to see you.
so happy that we got to do this today.
Me
Thank
too.
you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.